Welcome to the January 18th, 2022 meeting of the Town of Southampton Architectural Review Board. The ARB attorney, Ms. Doyle, will read the required statements from the state of New York. Ms. Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the laws of the state of New York, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely via Zoom video webinar until further notice. So we do ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information regarding future meetings. Also, as a reminder, we ask that applicants, agents, and members of the public who wish to speak at this meeting to please state your name and address for the record. The link to participate in this meeting can be found via Zoom on the town's website at the town clerk's meeting portal. If you do not wish to speak at the meeting, but you would like to submit comments for the public record, the link to submit comments can also be found on the town's website. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doyle. The Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Rump, the Vice Chair, would you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Rump.
You're very welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jankowski, the board secretary, would you please perform the roll call?
Ms. Keys?
Hello.
Mr. Burke?
Here.
Mr. Rumpf?
Here.
And Mr. Chairman, so we have a full quorum.
Thank you. Is there any old business to come before the board? If not, then we can start with the published agenda. We have a substantial residential at 64 Holly Lane Watermill. Is the applicant available to present this application to the board? Is anyone on the board familiar?
Coming now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Always so much fun. Love Zoom. Good morning. There should be, I believe, Alex Wicko so Kathy, you may see a couple other people with hand raised that can also join at this time if you could. And also, do we have the ability of screen sharing?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. And I believe there should be a Griffin from Ed Hollander's office as well.
Okay, they're coming.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just want to get the team on before we start.
That's great. Thanks, Melissa, for that.
No worries. We'll get it up.
One more hand up.
Mm-hmm.
Coming.
Yay, we have a team. Good morning, everyone. Melissa Dedovich, Peconic Environmental Associates here on behalf of the applicant. The property in question, if we can screen share, Leroy Street Studios we'd like to go through our presentation materials. Perfect. Okay, we can go to the next page, please, Anne. You could go. So 64 Holly Lane is located, as you can see, towards Mecox Bay. It's at actually the terminus of Holly Lane, which is a private road. Next. The property itself is 1.7 acres. As you can see, it's bounded by Mill Creek and Myers Pond. Next. Again, it's 1.7 acres. It's bulkheaded to both the east and the south, fully bulkheaded. We actually have a letter of non-jurisdiction from the Department of Environmental Conservation, as well as we had a letter of non-jurisdiction from the Conservation Department until we had this little wetlands pocket that's down in the lower left-hand corner. So we do have a full wetlands permit now from Marty Shea. I also like to point out on this slide that you can see that Holly Lane is actually unimproved over to Mill Creek. So we have some substantial easement to the north of our property, which is currently vegetated and provides substantial screening. I'm now going to give it over to Alex to walk you through the project plans and renderings.
Great, thank you, Melissa, and thanks to the board for hearing us today. This is a sort of site diagram that shows the renderings that we're going to show you. As Melissa said, we're at the kind of terminus of Holly Lane on the kind of northwest corner of the site. So if you see the diagram A, that will be the first rendering that we'll show. The second rendering B is of the front entrance, to give you a kind of architectural sort of overview of some of the materials that we're using. And then C and D are from the east, looking from a kayak view from the water or Mill Creek. And then E and F are from sort of Myers Pond and the south and west and southwest corner of the site looking back. Again, to give you kind of an overview of the project. And then we can also show you architectural plans and elevations as need be. After that, we'll go over to Holler's office to give you a sense of the landscape and some of the screening strategies that we've developed for the site. So if we begin with rendering A, again, which is a rendered view of what you'll see as you come off of Holly Lane and into the driveway proper for 64 Holly Lane here. This is the kind of front entrance of the property. We've created a lot of screening to kind of flank this entry. And you can see here basically the overall strategy and composition of the project is a kind of darker wood, second floor, stained wood, cedar, and a kind of lighter first floor, which is made of brick and some glass with steel accents. So if you go to the second rendering, this rendering we included basically to give a little bit more overview of the materiality that we're using on the project. Again, a kind of stained wood second floor and a kind of light to medium gray brick for the first floor. This is the front entrance that you'll see as you approach the building. Some accents in the landscape are shown here too, with a light stone coping and hardscape in the landscape, which folds into the building. This view is what we're calling the kind of kayak view, which would perhaps be one of the more public views of the project as you're kayaking around the kind of edges of Mecox Bay. This one's looking from the east. This is from the east looking back west. You can see the bulkhead in the foreground there, and a kind of protected front yard, which is the wetland setback that Melissa mentioned. You can see that, again, the composition of a kind of darker wood second floor hovering above a kind of glass and brick first floor with some of the planting and screening around it. And just a zoomed in image of that same elevation, you can kind of see a little bit more clearly the composition that we were talking about. The glass on the first floor, or actually throughout the project, I'll note is low E glass, but does not have any highly reflective coating that you might see in kind of a commercial project or something like that. This is fairly transparent glass, so not a whole lot of reflectivity there. We've also done a lot of sun studies and tried to create overhangs and minimize glare from the project as well. The overall massing of the project, you'll see in some of the plans, is kept fairly sort of minimal or broken down in key areas to try to minimize the kind of bulkiness or overall impact of the project. This is a view looking from the southwest corner of the site, closer to Myers Pond. So again, similar to what you might see from Myers Pond if you kayak by from near the bulkhead. This rendering is kind of important because it shows that the buildings that are closer to the western property and the south edge of the site, which is the kind of broad face of the property, we tried to pull down in elevation. So these are actually kind of one-story sort of aspects of the project or the plan that you can see in the lighter gray brick there in the foreground, with the pool in the immediate foreground. And the larger second story mass of the building is sort of tucked closer to the center of the site, which provides like a nice, or creates a nice sort of terracing of the building mass as you move from the water's edge to closer to the center of the property. So we feel like this creates a nice sort of transition from the water's edge to the higher point of the building, as opposed to create like a sort of a large singular mass in the project. Then one more rendering. This is kind of a bird's eye view from the southwest corner of the property, looking back. You can see the pool there in the foreground. There are two trellises or pergolas that in the design, which are open air. You can see on the left there is the pool house and garage with a small roof terrace. This again is a one-story part of the project, which is the closest part of the project to the western property. And again, the one-story sort of brick mass on the right-hand side, which is a living space that flanks the
Sorry, I'm in a meeting.
east side of the pool.
I'm in a meeting. Sorry.
And you can, I think what's nice about this rendering is you can start to see the kind of the sort of fragmentation or breaking down of the kind of bulkiness of the project, which might have otherwise been very kind of jarring on this corner lot, which is somewhat prominent on Mecox Bay. We've tried to be sensitive to some of the views and create an interesting design, of course, for the client, while being sensitive to the landscape and some of the neighboring properties. And this is a kind of material overview of the project, mostly exterior materials here. On the left-hand side, you can see a mock-up that we've actually already done for the project, which is made of stained white cedar cladding. It's a series of louvers, as we're calling them, and kind of a board and batten cladding that's solid. And then the brick, sort of small sample of the brick cladding that we're using on the project, which is a kind of off-white or off-gray kind of finish. The middle images there are kind of zoom in of some of those materials that we're using. The cedar on the top with the black arbor coat stain from Ben Moore, which is working really well for holding up in the weather. A kind of darker zinc cladding as trim. There's a small sample of the glass that we're using on the project with aluminum finish, which is a very dark anodized bronze. Some minor exterior hardware, door hardware might be in a warm pewter. I'm not sure you'll see that from a public perspective, but threw that in there. And then some of the hardscape in the landscape, which is going to be primarily made of a Madras gray stone, which is a fairly even kind of off gray stone, and some grayed out Ipe decking. And then the overall composition on the right, just to see everything together. we don't have to dwell on these too much, but I wanted to include them. These are the exterior elevations of the project. A little technical in nature, but you can see that composition that we were talking about with the darker stained wood second floor, which is floating above a brick and glass kind of first floor. I think the image on the sort of middle image is more or less what you would see as you approach the building from Holly Lane, moving into the entry. This is the first rendering that we saw, with the kind of north wing or guest wing on the top. And then the bottom image, which is the east elevation, is really showing that kind of terracing or stepping down from the center part of the project, which is on the right-hand side, and kind of terracing down to the water's edge as you move to the left-hand side of that image, number 4 there. And these are additional elevations from the south and west. I think the west elevation is very telling, again, in terms of moving from the higher point of the site, which is more central and screened, down to the water's edge on the east side. So the whole project kind of terraces with the natural grade of the site, from about, I think, plus 13 or 14, all the way down to about 2.5 at the bulkhead. And then this is the last series of elevations. You can see the one-story mass of the pool house and garage, which we've combined here, and kept fairly low profile, which we think is being somewhat respectful of the western neighbor, which it would be the closest adjacent building to their property line. This is our first floor architectural plan. You see the pool house and garage on the left-hand side or the west side of the property there, which is a freestanding structure, free from the main building. And then I guess the only thing I'll note here about the main building, which is kind of cruciform in plan or plus shaped in plan, is that we've tried really hard to fragment and terrace the program throughout the project, again, to create, kind of a nice fusion of landscape and building, but also to break down some of that perspective, or that kind of mass in the perspective from the water's edge of Mill Creek and Mecox Bay. This is the second floor plan. So we're moving up in elevation now. You can see the rooftops of the pool house and garage and pool house on the left. The rooftop of the the family room and kitchen on the bottom, sort of center part of the plan here. And then the second floor, which is more occupiable interior space, is the kind of central core in the middle of the page, and a kind of north guest wing on the north part of the page, or the upper part of the page. So that's the kind of more mass of the building. This is the rooftop plan, the next one. So you can see as we're moving up in elevation, the building mass sort of gets smaller and smaller, and gets pushed to the center part of the project or site. The project does have a limited basement space. The rest of the project is slab on grade or a series of grade beams. This was allowable in this project due to the fact that most of the building is placed within the X zone of the project, FEMA X zone, flood zone, and also the inside the limb wall line for hurricane and flood protection. And then we wanted to include these just to show some of the current status of the site. The demolition has already commenced. You can see that most of that site has been cleared. These two images are taken from the southeast corner and kind of south edge of the property. You can see the water's edge there in both of them. And I think the only thing I'll mention here is that this is taken in the winter, and you can see that there's a substantial amount of screening already in place to the western property line and to the northern property line, even in the winter months here, which is I think huge benefit for everyone. Most of that vegetation exists within the right of way of Holly Lane, which won't be touched in this project. Or on the western neighboring property, which of course is not in our project as well. You can also see the SWIP fence there, or the erosion fence has been put in place, which gives you a bit of a sense of what the property line is, along with some of the wetland setbacks that exist. So from there, I think I'll turn it over to Jeff Valentino at Hollander Design's office, our landscape architect.
Before you do,
yes, please.
Before you do, could you tell us what the total square footage is of the living space?
When you say living space, do you mean
First and
like
second floor, Alex.
first and second floor? Great.
Yeah.
Right.
So the first floor and second floor, maybe my team can just chime in here because they have that data on hand.
The first floor is 4,900 square feet, and the second floor is around 5,400 square feet.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. Would you continue with the landscape plan?
Yeah, good morning to the board. My name is Jeff Valentino. I'm studio director with Hollander Design Landscape Architects. Just want to give you guys a brief overview of the landscape design. The design of the home is such that it creates, 4 distinct outdoor rooms within the property. You've got your motor court and entry sequence at the northwest corner. You've got a pool outdoor family entertaining space at the southwest corner of the site. And then 2 distinct outdoor terrace and lounge spaces, both on the southeast and the northeast side of the site. We have an array of large mature trees throughout the site that help to define our outdoor spaces in each of these areas and also help to ground and frame the architecture. The planting, as Alex mentioned before, along the north and west property lines, while there's existing dense vegetation there within the easement and the adjacent west property, the proposed planting on the inside is going to be also tall and very dense. All of the plantings along that north easement are going to remain as they currently are. And then on our side of that north property line, we're going to have, a very dense planting and a layered effect with an array of evergreens. We have 7-foot tall osmanthus hedge that runs the whole north property line.
Anne, can you show the landscape plan, please?
We have this, yeah, we have a rendering and then we have some detailed plans.
That is helpful.
If you go to the next slide, it's a little even more detailed. We submitted all the planting plans for this. So along that very northern property line, we've got a 7-foot hedge that runs the full extent of where the architecture is. And then within that, we've got another layer of 12 to 14-foot tall American hollies mixed in with 16 to 18-foot Western red cedar. And then in and amongst that, we've got some large canopy shade trees that are going to be in the realm of 25 to 30 feet tall. So they'll be in conjunction with what's already there within the easement. And then what we're proposing, there's going to be a lot of screening, from the northern vicinity. And then on the western property line, if you go to the next page in conjunction with this, we've got a row of Western red cedars, again, 16 to 20 feet tall that run the full length of the property. On the east side of the adjacent lot, which has, really tall existing evergreens and deciduous species. We have along the perimeter of the property along the waterfront, we have a small buffer of low planting that was required for wetlands. And again, just in a mixture of different species, mostly native and adaptive, naturally adapted species throughout the site.
So I think it's, as you can see, the two-story portion of the house is relatively pretty much set the furthest away from both the properties to both the east and the west and the north. And we're providing extensive screening on top of the existing screening that's already available, not on our property. So I think it's just any questions the board has that maybe we can help you with at this time.
Okay, did that conclude your presentation?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. It's a very complete presentation and appreciated. I'm the lead board member on this project. I have no problem with it. I'm glad you did screen it. And I'd like to have comments on the landscaping from our vice chair, Mr. Tim Rump.
Mr. Chairman, I have no issues with the screening of the landscape palette at all. I think it's a great job.
And with the building,
Yeah, I have no issues with the project at all.
okay. Mr. Jankowski?
Yeah, I just feel the need to say that this was the most complete and informative presentation that I think I've ever seen. So great job by, I think it was Alex and your team. It was just a great presentation, just the way you showed everything. You set the bar really high. I have no issues with the project. I think the project looks great. I guess just one question that just my curiosity, did it on renderings. Were you doing vegetation on the roof?
Yes, yeah, we actually have a separate vegetation plan for the roof. All three buildings have, or actually two buildings have green roofs.
Gotcha. So it'll be a complete LEED house then, like what's that, gold or platinum?
We're actually, the energy standard that we're using here is called HERS, which is required for the town of Southampton. And because of the size of the house, it has to meet a HERS rating of at least 35, which is pretty strict. LEED is a little difficult for a single family residence. It can be done, but with the HERS rating, we felt that that was actually as good, if not better, in some of the energy savings.
All right, thanks. Great job.
Thank you.
I have no issues.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Keys, comments?
Hi, I agree. I had the same, I thought, bravo, very beautiful presentation. And I have one question. One of my questions, I agree with Ted, was the roof. But the second was, and this is just a minor psychosis on my part, is in one of the renderings, the pool edges were white, and in the other one, they're brown. And I was wondering if the pool part that's exposed, is it brown or white? Just a question. It doesn't matter really, but I just thought, which is it? Because it looks like it's steel.
It's probably just the way the rendering is reading. It's an infinity edge, so it's just the water rolling over the stone.
Okay. So the stone's white.
It's gray, actually. It's like a dark gray.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think it's beautiful and well screened. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Burke, comments?
No issues. Nope.
Okay, fine. Any comments from the public? If none, do I hear a motion to approve?
I see none.
And I heard a second, I believe. Or did I? Who made a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, and was there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve this project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I
Thank
just
you.
want to say congratulations to Kathy. I just heard that you're retiring. Congratulations.
Right.
Thank you for your years of service. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Right. Okay, the next we have is a substantial residential at 82 Little Neck Road, Southampton. Is the applicant available to present this application to the board?
Coming now.
Good morning, board members. Lisa Poyer with Twin Forks Permits on behalf of the applicant. If you would allow me to screen share, I can present the plans to you.
You may.
The owners are the architects for the property, and they're actually traveling today for some business and were unable to attend, so I am doing so for them. Let's see. You can see the rendering. Is that visible?
Yes.
So the property is located at 82 Little Neck Road. It's actually just down the street from board member Rumpf, around the corner from him. And the property contains a single-family residence. It is 0.8 acres. It fronts along Old Fort Pond, and there are wetlands located on the property. The application has been before Marty Shea with the Conservation Board and received a wetland permit. As such, there is a substantial wetland buffer planting plan that was presented and approved by the Conservation Board. The owners are looking to demolish the existing residence and to construct a new two-story single-family residence consisting of 3 bedrooms on the property. It's going to be located in the approximate location of the existing residence, so the setbacks to the wetlands are not going to get any smaller. Like I said, there's proposing to do a substantial wetland buffer on the property. The residents will not substantially get closer to the road, which is Little Neck Road. As such, it will pretty much be not visible from the road as it is right now. The owners are looking to do a more modern construction, as you can see from the rendering in this view. It is a hardy plank style siding, which is that kind of a concrete fiber siding. There's going to be natural wood and exposed concrete for the foundation, along with a natural metal railing and pool fence enclosure on the property. The next view is just the existing condition survey along with the proposed survey. The project will also include removal of the sanitary system, which is located in this corner very near the wetland pocket. And they're proposing to do a new IA system and will be locating it distance away from the wetlands on the property. The project will be approximately 1,800 square foot worth of footprint. It will have a 1,050 square foot elevated untreated wood deck, 352 square foot infinity edge lap pool. All of this will be located approximately 80 feet from the wetlands. There will be some stairs and some decks in order to access the pool and the residence. The residence will be approximately 2,900 square feet in gross floor area. And I'm just here to see if there's any questions that the board may have regarding the application.
Okay, do you have a landscape plan?
I do not have that available. They are not proposing, if you can see from the survey here, if it's visible there, they are not proposing any real substantial changes to the front yard. So there are extensive hedges along the front, and I can screen share an aerial. As you can see from the aerial here, there are substantial, some cedar trees between the road and the property. And when you compare it to the prior survey, these trees in the front are going to remain.
Are the ones on the edges remaining?
Yes, there is existing screening along both property lines, and those will remain.
Okay, one question
Yes.
I have before we get to the comments section.
Okay.
What I saw in the original rendering was like a tower.
That is a bulkhead in order to get to the roof.
Okay, and is it going to be lit?
No, it will not. Not from the outside as far as,
Well, I don't mean from the outside, but from the inside.
there will be an interior light in as much as a, safety light from a hall sort of situation.
Could you go to the original rendering?
Yep.
All right, now you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You have lights on both sides. We have a situation in that area where there is a residence that almost looks like a lighthouse at times at night.
Okay,
That's one of my concerns with having
Okay.
that up there that high.
I can take these back to the owners and they should be available at the next meeting to address this.
Okay, fine. All right, well, I'm not the lead from this area. Ms. Keys is, and I'd like to have her comments.
Hi, yes, I agree. I'd like to have a very specific plan of the vegetation, the
Okay.
landscape plan before we go forward. And I also need to know a lot more about the lighting because it's so visible to the water, et cetera. So those two things are pretty important.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Key, Mr. Rump, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
The one, the project is fairly well screened. As Lisa says, both from the road as well as from the west, the north and the south property line. The one question I have, Lisa, is the location of the IA system for sanitary is
Mhm.
very close to the root zone of the trees on the south side.
Okay,
And that screening is both on the neighbors to the south as well as, the Ting property as well. And I'm wondering if it seems like that the grading and the installation of that system is going to, impact the root zone of the trees, the existing trees. So I'm wondering if that could be shifted a little bit further north away from the property line.
Okay.
So that, and then some kind of a protocol prepared for how that, that methodology and how that system is going to be improved, installed. So that the roots, some kind of root protection and how they're going to, cut the roots of those trees is taken care of. That's the concern that I have, as well as, what the chairman and Ms. Keys talked about, is that the kind of tower that's on the top of the second floor of that's not access at all to the roof, because there is no roof deck, correct?
it looks like there's a second floor deck over top of the first floor here. I believe that's access there, but I will confirm that with the architects.
Yeah, but they're not using that to get access up to the roof of that second floor, correct? Because
Correct. I believe it's a stairwell, kind of a bulkhead light,
Okay.
Allow natural light into the circular stairwell that accesses from the first to the second floor. But I will
maybe there's
confirm
another
that.
way they could achieve that natural light to that stairwell without such
Okay.
an invasive structure.
I will have them take a look at that for you.
Mhm.
That'd be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Rump, does that conclude your comments?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jankowski, comments?
No additional comments, just the same comments as what the rest of the board said. I see what Mr. Rump's talking about. as far as moving that system just a little bit to the north, because there is kind of like an opening in that front area. So I see what you're talking about. Looking from a street view, those do look like mature trees, both the north and the south. Because I can't even see the house on the Google Street View. So I just concur with the other comments.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Burke, comments?
No, I have nothing further than what the other board members added, so.
Okay, and my comment is just a reiteration of what I already made comments. And I agree totally with Mr. Rump. I think that stairwell or whatever, I think that could be redesigned and not be as obtrusive, because I'm afraid it's going to be like you'll see it too much at night. Like I said, like almost a lighthouse. So what we'll do, since there is a lot of information that has to come back, we can hold this over, or we can have it, Ms. Keys do a review on it as a final, but I think there's enough questions. We should just hold this over.
I agree.
I'm comfortable holding it over.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
I apologize. I hurt my hamstring. I have to keep standing up.
Okay, we have a sign application at 5 Inlet Road, Shinnecock Hills. Is the applicant available to present this application to the board?
Yes.
And Ms. Keys, you are the lead board member on this application. Would you give the board your comments?
I have nothing on it.
Well,
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Donna Lanzetta representing, I'm the applicant and I'm a co-applicant with the town of Southampton regarding this particular sign. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. If I could share my screen. I had some trouble uploading documents to the website because of we have duplicate application numbers, and I'll explain about that as we go forward. But I'm challenged to share my screen. Choose what to share. Actually, I don't know about the screen sharing. Let's see. It's not letting me. Okay. Am I still sharing?
No.
You stopped it.
I stopped it. Sorry, bear with me. This is not my window, right? No.
There you go.
No, when I find is
You have to unmute.
the things that have ism with it.
You have to unmute.
Donna, we can't hear you. You have to unmute. There we go. Still can't hear.
Inlet Road West. I have the restaurants at 5 Inlet Road West. I also purchased the land across the street at 4 Inlet Road West and 22 Inlet Road West and 2145 County Road 39. And so the town purchased the development rights off the land from across the street. It was a collaborative purchase in lieu of a 26-unit townhouse development. And the property is preserved as farmland across from the restaurant, which we plan to have an aquaculture innovation center there. But for the restaurant, we did soft open in the summer of 2021, and I've been pursuing the sign application since that time. I originally applied for a sign on my property, 5 Inlet Road, and there was problems with processing the application because actually the town property is 1 Inlet Road. It all used to be 162. And if you look at the survey, it shows all the new tax maps. But
Okay, we are unable to see, or I'm unable to see any of the drawings.
so let's see, try again. So
Look at that.
Oh, you're muted again.
And when you share, your audio goes off.
That's so funny.
it's really strange. Can you hear me now? I'm not muted. I'm going to try one more time.
We can hear you. Every time you share, your audio goes off.
I wonder why.
Yeah, it goes away every time.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What's the existing sign now?
Lobster Inn.
So that I was showing you the picture of the pre-existing sign. We're just looking to replace the exact size and location of the pre-existing sign. Actually, we're planning to move it a little bit back from the road. It's a 3-post sign with 2 panels, one facing the west and one facing the east. As I said, we have 2 colors, red and blue. Within the spectrum, acceptable colors. We've changed all of that. Our original application was under 5 Inlet Road. Now the town board passed a resolution to allow us to lease a portion of their property at 1 Inlet Road in order to place the sign. So that's kind of where we are now. I can share, and you just won't be able to listen to me, but I'm going to run through the documents so you can see them. And I apologize that this isn't working clearly. So.
Yeah, these are so faint, I can't read anything out of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest we hold this off and postpone it till the next meeting, and you can possibly maybe get more familiar with how to upload the drawings at that time.
Okay, so the problem with uploading the drawings for me right now is that We originally I paid the fee for the sign application in June of 2021 under 5 Inlet Road, and we had an application number. It's recently, after the resolution, been switched over to that other property. So when I go to upload the documents through the portal, it's not accepting it because the application number isn't correct or something like that. Is there a way I can hand deliver a package and we put it over for the next meeting in that regard? I don't know about being able
that's
to.
probably the only thing that could be done at this point.
Right.
Does anyone on the board have another suggestion?
No, I think that's what you have to do. And if you're going to go about and do that, you might as well do materials also. You could do, and that way you could make it so that that'll expedite everything. You know what I mean? Because it looks like a nice sign, but we can finish it all up. Just make sure, as Ted always says, that you get the right number in the right place for security purposes, etc. And I will be sure, if you email me personally, I'll go in and check it for you. I can hear your frustration.
Well, it's a difficult time, for her restaurant in COVID. We've been struggling and we really need the sign. It's been 6 months. Yeah, so I appreciate your help. And if you could give me your email, I'd appreciate that.
Give me, okay, I'll chat it to you right now.
Okay, thanks. I apologize that it wasn't working. I'm pretty savvy with this. I've been Zooming for a year and a half, but screen share, not so much.
All right.
So it'll be February then?
February 1st is our next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Okay, is there any other business to come before the board? If none,
I just want to say, Mr. Chairman, welcome back.
Oh,
Hope
thank
your
you.
health is improved.
Yeah.
And Miss Simone won't be with us on February 1st.
It's
Well,
awful.
That's the comments that I have to make. And if you don't mind, I'd like to go first. And then I want, I'd like to have Tim, because he and I have been the longest on the board, and we both have known Catherine the longest, I believe, of everyone. My comments are, well, when I first came to the board, the first person I actually met was Catherine. And this was a while ago. But I want to thank you for all the service to the ARB that you've performed over the years, and you're going to be missed. And I can't say that it's really like bittersweet, because you're going to Florida, so I think that's great with the weather we're having, but you will be missed. Mr. Rump, any further comments?
No, well, Kath, I saw Kath on Thursday last week when I was in, but we really appreciate all you've done for us, and I'm glad you've made the decision to retire, and please enjoy the time off and the less stress, and enjoy your family.
Okay, Mr. Jankowski, any comments?
Well, yeah, of course, we're going to miss you, Kathy, but that's just us being selfish, I guess. But you deserve it. We're going to miss your smile. We're going to miss your upbeat personality and everything that you did for us. But you deserve it. So enjoy your time. You deserve it. Thank you so much.
Okay, Ms. Keys.
I hate you for leaving. Really hate you. I cannot believe it. You make me feel so much better. you know, I don't know if anybody on the board realizes this, but I don't pay attention to a lot of shit and I don't know where anything is. I can't figure out anything in there. I never have a pen. And Kathy, that makes me feel like I'm not a crazy girl in the back of the class who's 10 minutes late, because that's how I feel sometimes. And she has made me feel like that's not the case. And I can't adore you more for it. So thank you.
Mr. Burke, comments?
Just a big congrats to Kathy. I've known you for, remember working in town hall and you being a familiar face and have gotten to know you throughout the years and the family, and we all wish you nothing but the best. Love you, Kathy.
Oh,
And
we're in Florida. Where are you going?
I guess we can't hear her.
Fine.
Anyway, Miss Doyle? Miss Doyle, comments?
You're muted. Well, until you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can hear you.
First stop, West Coast, Cape Coral for a couple of weeks. My daughter rented a house for 2 months. And then all my other friends are on the East Coast and my sister's on the East Coast, Delray, Wellington.
Oh, will you be there in March?
I will be there in March.
So will I.
Yes. I'll
Uh-oh.
email you. I'll text you.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
Miss
it.
Doyle, comments?
Sorry.
But just congratulations, and we've only got to work together for a short time, but it has been a pleasure, and I really hope you get to enjoy your family, and you've worked here for a long time, I know, so it's a very well-deserved retirement.
Thank you so much for all of your help too. Appreciate it. I'm
Okay.
gonna miss you guys very, very much.
Well,
This is
we'll
one
miss
of
you
the
too.
parts of my job.
Okay.
Just being with you guys, these meetings, and very informative and interesting beyond the other scope of what I do.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
And entertaining, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other business to come before the board? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
I'll
Motion
second
has
that.
been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And next meeting is February 1st.